And now let's talk about the science behind the heat and what we're going to feel. I want to take a few minutes to talk about how you can stay safe.
And that's why, of course, we brought in our 9 health expert, Dr. Payal Kohli, to talk about it. So let's talk about it as a doctor. What do you see? What are the most common impacts that the heat can have on us?
You know, Tom, the population exposure to high heat has actually gone up over time because of climate change. And of course, in the short term, it can cause dehydration, heat stroke, heat exhaustion. But in the long term, believe it or not, it can actually impact your longevity, how long we live, our management of chronic illnesses like respiratory diseases, heart disease, stroke. But it can also impact our infrastructure. So our access to care, increase accidents that occur. All of these things happen when it's hot outside.
Wow.
Yeah.
And usually in Colorado, we think about the extreme cold and talking about all these things and staying healthy. So what do we do to try and stay safe?
So there are things we can do with our behavior that can really help. So the first is to cool our body down. And the way we do that from the inside is by drinking lots of water. So staying hydrated to the point that you have almost colorless urine. You want to make sure you're doing that. You don't want to be eating large, heavy meals. In fact, you want to eat infrequently, smaller meals. Make sure there's no processed food, no sugar, not a lot of protein. I'm looking at you, Kim.
I know.
And alcohol, that's a big one. In the summer, we like to have our margaritas and our cocktails, and
Chips and salsa.
That can actually be dehydrating.
And I'm looking on the screen, there's some common sense ideas there about just, stay in cooler places. And obviously we want to take care of ourselves and our pets.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So don't leave kids or pets locked in the car. Make sure the temperature inside your house during the day is no higher than 90, and at night no higher than 75. And you want to make sure to take frequent breaks if you're spending any kind of time outside, to go inside an air-conditioned place, wear loose clothing, make sure you're putting that sunscreen on, and just make sure you're not exercising outside, which I see a lot of people doing.
Hey, golfing.
It's barely exercise, but I appreciate you giving us the nod.
That's
Us
a
golfers,
lot of water.
you got to get in the cart, you got to get out of the cart. It's constant. It's over and over again. So let's talk about if you're not feeling well. How do you know if you're just a little tired or if you're really subject to heat exhaustion or heat stroke?
And this is something you should know for yourself and for others as well, because we have some that are susceptible. So heat exhaustion, I think all of us have had. That's that feeling when you start to have a headache, start to feel a little tired, you're thirsty, you're sweating, and you're just feeling a little nauseated and queasy. That's happened to every one of us. That means you should try to cool yourself off as quickly as possible. Again, drinking some cool non-alcoholic drinks, maybe taking a cold shower, something like that. That's not an emergency, but if the symptoms last longer than an hour, it's time to seek emergency care. Heat stroke, on the other hand, is a life-threatening emergency. And that's where you actually find somebody who may be confused, unconscious, or not arousable because of the extreme.
Or even struggling to speak or make sense. You said the disorientation would be maybe a cue of that as well?
That's exactly right, especially in our older population, which are more susceptible, to heat stroke. If they're having trouble with their words, that is a 911 phone call right away without delay. And of course, try to cool that person, put, cool ice packs in their armpits, try to remove their clothing if you can, just get them as cool as possible.
Yeah, we can talk about that cool shower, that's helpful, or anything like that. Okay.
Well, for that person, I wouldn't even
Probably
move them.
not. Don't do
exactly,
that.
yeah, because you don't know how stable they are. So just get their clothes off, put some cool things on them, and call 911.
It's early July, there's more of this to come, so hopefully we get a lot of people paying attention and taking care and staying safe through the summer. Dr. Payal Kohli, thanks as always.